guys just sat down with your waffles, so Jeff, we'll end with you. Let's go over our new senior missionary couples here. Yay! And Sister Richardson, right? Loves to cook. Is that correct to say you love to cook? Is that the right thing?
Yeah.
Okay. And you're,
Next week we'll have.
oh, get ready, get ready. And Elder Richardson's a great support to it all, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, okay, so first, let me show you, let's put up a map, because every time they say, so tell us the town you are currently from. I'm gonna put it in.
Worland, Wyoming.
Okay, spell it.
WORLANE.
Worland,
Okay,
Wyoming,
very
right
small
there.
town.
Let's find their house. There's their house. They have a big elephant in front of their house.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Okay,
you're
so
right.
so let's kind of zoom out to give reference. So watch, your zoomies, take a look at it. I'm not
There's the
screen sharing
Montana
yet.
border.
Oh, the Montana border. Okay, wait, so you got that. Worland. Okay, so now you can see, let's do directions to Worland from here. So San Jose Institute, let's do San
Oh,
Jose.
good way.
Peterson, what's one hobby you love? Hobby or just something that you love to do when you don't have anything to do?
Gadfrey.
Oh, that was it. That, I don't even know that is a good word, Gadfrey. I'm not sure what it means, but it sounds very cool.
I like to read, I like to play computer games.
Oh, favorite type of genre of reading? What do you like to?
Probably,
Military history.
military history,
Oh.
biographies.
Okay,
Stephen
Nice.
Ambrose is my favorite biographer,
okay. How come? What's the,
because he tells it so well, and it doesn't sound like he's a history lecturer.
pulls you in?
Yeah.
I like it. Okay, good. All right, and Sister Richardson, what's something you love to do when you don't have anything to do, if that ever happens?
I sew, I quilt, I read, I do family history.
Okay, so there you go. If you want to learn something,
And
you
I
need
brought
some
my
help.
sewing machine with me. I'm a hairdresser, so if anybody needs a haircut, I've got hair. Oh.
Yes, please.
Wow.
Okay, we're set. We got clothes and we got blankets coming up. Because our winters, so you're gonna learn a lot about us in Northern California. We're very fair weather. The second it hits below 60 degrees during the day, we are freezing.
Being home at 30 below. Oh.
That's
Yeah.
below zero, not wind.
Yeah, we don't even understand what we're saying right now. Because get ready, when it's like mid-50s during the day, we get, what do we say? Get a couple of weeks of that? We get scared. I mean, we're afraid that if we lose heat, that it's all over.
I was a school crossing guard for 2 years after we moved to Orland. And I would stand outside in 16 below zero.
Oh.
Dressed to the nines with insulated coverall stuff. And the children do not get snow days. They play outside unless it's down to 25 to 0. They stay inside.
Wow, that's hardcore.
Yeah, I don't even understand that. That is amazing. They are very much more resilient. Yes, yeah, come and thaw out. That's great. Well, so they're gonna be here for 18 months. Those of you who, it's on their dime, their time. Thank you for, they're leaving their family and children and grandchildren. We'll look forward to get to know you over these months, but thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's meet, Jeff. Jeff, tell us, I don't know, tell us, you're from South San Jose
Yeah.
and, go to school, work.
Yeah, I'm in school at Mission College in Santa Clara. I'm studying to become a firefighter with their academy there. Yeah.
Nice. And Sister Calvert here was his seminary teacher when he was a freshman. And same with Lupe. The Sister Calvert taught both of them, and that's why they're here today. Well, she was a conduit, one of many. Jeff, introduce your friend and then tell us who's with you here.
This is my friend Aaliyah.
Aaliyah, what do you love to do?
I love reading and being in the outdoors.
Okay, top spot. What's the top spot you love to go to?
My happy place is in Half Moon Bay. There's this one beach out there, and I know it's really, really cool. But on a great day and low tide, there's this one area on this beach where there's like these preserved palms that I really love to just sit at and just enjoy the view.
Healing, that sounds, what's the name of, you know the name of it?
I do not. I
You
know it's attached to a golf course though.
I think where that would happen, okay, we'll have to go check it out on a clear day.
Yeah.
Attached to a golf course in Half Moon Bay, okay, columns. That's great, so, well, glad you came, welcome. And favorite book genre, what's the,
That fluctuates with my mood, but right now it's fantasy.
yeah, okay. Like, it's kind of like series, like on Netflix, you know, you go to one mood and move into another, so I'm glad you're here. Well, very good. Any announcements, anything for the group, events that we need to share? Lupe, you're welcome to come on around. You can eat here. I'm okay.
It's okay, I have a better view of the.
Oh, you're fine back there? Okay.
There's one seat over here.
Okay. Hey, Zoomies, any announcements, anything you want to share? Good to see, I see Sadie and Mahaya, thanks for showing the video, Adrian and Keon. Amelia, hi Amelia. If you're able to show us video, awesome, we'd love to see you, if you can. We understand that's some situation. Oh, yeah, oh, cool, awesome, wave at Amelia, she's on, great. Oh, Keon met with the missionaries last week, hoping to meet up with them again. All right, yes, nice. That's very good. What did you guys, Adrian, can you unmute? What did you guys talk about with the missionaries? Tell me if you're able to unmute. You able to unmute? Yes, no? I'm watching that thing. Okay, Adrian. Would love to hear, Thanks, Brother Richmo. Oh, the audio's not working. Okay, yeah, put a phrase in of what a takeaway from the missionaries, and I'll share that. So, all right, let's go. Let's talk family. Let's continue this course. It's called The Eternal Family. If you're just joining us, don't be afraid. It's not a marriage course. It's a course about developing relationships and increasing them, and family is part of that for sure. So we'll talk about angles of family, but as I mentioned last week, we are covering, you apply it to whatever. I mean, we're all in different types of family relationships, right? You often hear this in our church congregations. We'll say, oh, we're so glad to be together as a ward family. And we've got our family, friends that are chosen family. Have you ever heard that phrase? Friends are chosen family. You've got family and relatives, and so, and just relationships in general. You've got your work family. I don't know, somebody might say, I don't want to call work that, but maybe you got a good crew that you're with, and maybe you're not, and you want to get some good revelation on how to better your relationships in whatever area. So please apply the principles in all areas of life, and eternity is about relationships, and the eternal family is at the core. And so we need this from pre-K on. I mean, we do not do enough talking about how your comments. Let's see. Adrian said they were talking about timelines of things and introduce each other and some basics with that. So yeah, cool. Learning how to pray. Awesome. Oh, did they have you pray, Adrian? With that? let you practice that. If you ever want to, we'd love to have you practice. Oh, cool. He closed with prayer. First time. Nicely done. Nicely done. Yeah, it's a big deal with that. So you can see from last week, if you were here, as these situations where we like come together, these are some of many that help us receive revelation. And so this is a conduit to get help. So if you're looking for some help, like in specifically the focus of relationships and family, if you get some inspirational thoughts, write them down. Like, oh, I want to think about this. I want to work on this. Write it down. And Elder Bednar talked about it as I showed you this last week. It's all about what we're learning from the Spirit. So as we share with each other. I know somebody messaged me, Lupe, I think you messaged me right on this. Thank you. If you want credit towards any church-owned school, Pathway Institute, please snap a picture, text me, and I'll send you what you need to do. It's not a lot more, but there's a few things with that. And with that, you're now going to open up, go back to your gospel library. Click on your bookmarks. Did you bookmark the lessons from last week? I think I had you bookmark 3 and 4. Is that right? So now you can edit that. So click on your lesson 4. So let me show you. Let me show you on the work. Zoomies, I don't know what this is going to do to you. It might wipe out the screen for a second. But I'm going to just show. So if you open up to your gospel library, remember bottom right here, you can click on that and then you'll see your bookmarks. You can edit it if you want to remove it. But next week you'll be studying lesson 5. So then just click on bookmark, the bottom right, and then you'll hit plus, hit the plus right here, the bottom right, and then now lesson 5 is at the top. So then click on lesson 5, go to 6, because next week you'll talk about different principles from these 2 lessons. So bookmark that, hit a plus, and now it's there. And then if you want to remove the ones before, you can hit delete, hit delete. There we go. So today we are in lessons 3 and 4. So we're going to talk about principles and probably focus a little bit more on divine nature and destiny. And then if we have some time, we'll get into we talked about this throughout, so we'll do that. And with that, let me get back here, Zoomies, and take over the screen. All right. We'll get that going. Give it a second. All right. Thanks, Brother Yoshimoto. So I want to just have you do some things here. Go to this prep. Technology. I shouldn't have pulled the screen. I think what do you think about a question here? If I can, one more time. So there's a statement, if we could go together to 3. The family, a proclamation to the world. The church did a proclamation. Anybody know what year? Find out what year that this was released.
1992.
Anybody can find the year, the proclamation.
1992?
I think it was a few years after that.
98.
The 98? I'm gonna say 95. I think it's 95. So you're all close, in the 90s. So,
Wednesday at 2.
That was 2.
yeah, thank you. I'm trying to get this going here. And I want you to find the proclamation, the family proclamation. So just type in the family. Let's see if it comes up. I think if you just type in the family, and it should show up. Oh yeah, right there. So let's go and find the phrase where it starts with all human beings. Tell me what paragraph. And if you're not finding it, lean over. Paragraph 2. Tell me, give you a second to look at that. Hopefully we'll get this going again. So all human beings. All right, somebody read that. That second paragraph. Who's got that? The family. Okay, thanks, Gabby. Go ahead and read that.
Just a paragraph.
Just a paragraph, yeah, right there.
All human beings, male and female, are created in the image of God. Each is a beloved spirit, son or daughter of heavenly parents, and as such, each has a divine nature and destiny. Gender is an essential characteristic of individual premortal, mortal, and eternal identity and purpose.
Okay, so let's get into this. I got some questions for you. And maybe I'll do a Brexit plug-in with the old school. Because I want you to choose a question. I'm going to give you a couple questions, and then you're going to find, I'm going to have you look up some scriptures or quotes that could kind of help you. Like if you were to answer these questions, and you know, in terms of understanding this, like how important it is with divine identity and nature with that. So let's see if we can get, sorry about that, Zoomies. We got to give us a second here. We'll see if we can get any of this to work. There we go. Might be here. Good one. Work for everybody. Maybe not. All right, first question. All right, I'm gonna have you put this down. Divine nature. All right, divine nature. So write this down. How is it? Actually, let's start with this one. What is that? When I say divine nature, like what comes to mind when you think of that term, divine nature?
God's
I'm
child.
curious. Yeah, Ben, start us off. What do you think? What is,
Well, possibly our identity as a child of God.
okay. So kind of where, okay, I like that. I like that. So understanding kind of where we came from. So if you think about that doctrine, so we believe that we are created after the image of our heavenly parents. So if we believe that, how can that potentially affect how we treat ourselves and others? Let me say that again. If we believe we come from a deity, like heavenly parents, how, this is not guess what I'm thinking, this is what are you thinking? How does that affect, potentially, how can that affect how we treat ourselves and others? If I'm developing that faith and belief in that. What comes to mind? Just gonna work on this while you're thinking about that. The divine nature, so if I think that I come from a heavenly parents, like that's in my DNA, I have divine in me. how should that affect how it, I treat myself and others? Like, what does that make you think about?
You treat others with more respect because you understand that they are divine as well. And then you treat yourself with more respect because you know who you are and what you're meant to do.
Sister Quirrell, what are you thinking? So if you're developing a faith that you're like, okay, my divine has been created by heavenly parents. Like what should that be doing to me as I'm developing? I mean, I don't know. What do you think about? What are you thinking about?
I guess personally for me, just knowing that like I'm a child of God makes me have way more purpose in my life, kind of giving me like that deeper meaning of love for myself and others, knowing that we're coming from someone so special and someone so special enough that he knows us each personally. And that just makes me want to treat others with that same love that he has for them, because I know it's so personal for all of us.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. Good. Wow, that's powerful. What else? What does that do? How does it affect like how you treat yourself and others? So
There's an awesome meme that pops up once in a while on my phone. And it's a young girl with a crown. Now you've heard it before. It says, if you're having a bad day, adjust your crown and remember whose daughter you are. I bought myself a crown. It's sitting on my bathroom counter because I have bad days. And so I remember I'm the daughter of God.
okay, so you just gave me you just gave an invitation potentially when you think about it. So so we need reminders. Like you just made me think like we need something that helps us remember how important the divine is, because it's easy to disconnect from that. Like, you get going in life and you get frustrated, you're driving. All right, I don't know, I sometimes will struggle thinking about divine thoughts about other people when they're driving certain ways. And whether it's myself thinking about myself or the other person, and wow, I mean, it's nice to have, maybe I need to have a crown on my dashboard. Okay, thank you with that. So, okay, so here you go. So one thing you could potentially take away this week. So what do I do to deepen and remember that I am a child of God? That is a very powerful question. And you can put it however you like if it's about deity, if you like that term better, but heavenly parents. But if we are not consistently going back to deepening that faith and belief, then it's easy to forget and go the opposite direction on the way you treat and look at other people. That good. What else? What else do you think? As we think about the divine and things like that, what are some other things? Yeah, Elder Bassett.
It gives me a lot more confidence knowing that I am basically, I'm not a god myself, but I have the potential to be a god. And so that gives me a lot more confidence to be able to do things.
Okay, that's
I can probably do this.
Yeah, because you got the divine, right? If it's in it, and that's part of developing it. Man, well said, Elder Bassett. I really like that. Yes, Elder Richardson.
If I may approach that question with an experience many years ago, and how does it affect me? Temptations. Temptations is a big one. Many years ago, I was an over-the-road truck driver, and I stopped at a truck stop down in Phoenix, Arizona. And I got approached by a professional pimp, and he had his gal with him. My instant thought was, and I followed it through, I am a priest of the Most High after the holy order of the Son of God. Why would you seek to tempt me? I am a son of God. That was instant in my mind, knowing that I am of potential eternal divine heritage. Wow.
There's another one. So having phrases, keywords, things that you can go to, like when you feel you get temptation and say, yeah, I'm a child of God, or whatever phrase helps you pull back. Wow, I love that. Here's another question. By the way, these questions that they put are all from the prep right here. They said this. When have you had an experience when you've been able to look past someone's offensive behavior or attitude and see their divine nature? Like, whoa, I'll say it one more time. I was like, I don't know if I do this enough. Like, my first response, it's easy when something happens that I observe as offensive or frustrating. My natural response is maybe not always that I immediately go past and say, okay, wait, we're all divine. There are people making bad choices, right? We have agency, so people make bad choices. We know that. But in the bad choice, so I'll say it one more time. When have you had an experience where you've been able to look past someone's offensive behavior or attitude and see their divine nature? And I would ask, and how can I do that? Ben, I think your hand was going up. Have you had that experience?
I think it was during my mission when I think someone did the offensive things. It was, for me, I just pity him because he didn't knew what was really going on.
Yeah. Wow. So it created some pity, maybe some empathy in the situation of not understanding. And it's not that as you're developing, Sister Coral, please. Yeah,
Sorry.
jump in. No.
I don't have a specific example that I've been through, but a bishop from Marina, he shared this with me, and it really, really helps me with this idea of just being able to like look past like the wrong things people have done to you. And he told me, he's like, I use the atonement as full restitution for any wrong that anybody has done to me. And I don't know, that just really, really has helped me like on my mission and throughout my life to just use Jesus Christ for anything that anyone has done wrong for me. Use Jesus Christ in that moment. Include Jesus Christ in your life. And I know through anything that we're going to do, he can prepare a way. I just wanted to know that.
Okay, so again, if you're hearing something, write it down. Ooh, I want to try that. So think of a situation. So let's just think of a situation. So we all have situations where we're interacting with people, and sometimes it doesn't go exactly as we perceive. Perceptions are different, experiences are different, our frame of reference, the way our lens, the way we see life, it's all different. And so the potential invitation this week, if you want to take this on, is to take a look at situations where maybe normally there's a tendency to not look at the divine and look at the frustration first and say, what can I do to look at the divine? Because the next issue is when I look at the divine, then what can happen with the interaction that's frustrating? That's the next part. Because it's not that you're ignoring the difficulties in our relationships. It's how we're approaching the difficulties. So if I'm going in with a lens of, and I love to use the example of driving because it's the classic Christian training ground. But if I go into it with they're an idiot and they don't know how to drive, I'm jumping the divine. I'm wiping it immediately, right? And I've been president of that club many times, and I've been the idiot many times. Okay, so if you don't think you've ever been that, you have. Sorry, I have the wrong word, but we have all made mistakes. We've been the mistaker and the mistakey. So we all have that thing. And so if I jump immediately to that, I am not, number one, I'm not respecting my divinity, nor am I respecting theirs. And so we've got to learn things, and that's what's so beautiful as you study the scriptures and the quotes of the prophets and the leaders, and we listen to some of these things that we do and say, okay, what are my patterns? let me put, what are my patterns as I interact with people, especially when it's uncomfortable, when there's misunderstandings, when we're not connecting? How do I, now, it's not necessarily going to give a quick fix, but what it will do is it will put us in a frame of mind so the Spirit can be with us so that we can see more clearly in this darkly world, right? That's Paul's term. He says we live in a darkly glass, meaning we don't always see everything. We've got the, we don't remember when we were with our heavenly parents, but we believe that. And so we need these things to remember. And so many times in relationships, we need to go back to our divine and say, okay, wait, I am a child of heavenly parents. And so I need to learn to deepen that so that I could look at other people that way. So I'll say one more time, it's not that you won't deal with frustrating experiences. It's you'll still have opportunities. Maybe you'll need to deal and say some harder things, but how you will say them, it will come across. Like I know for me, if I have not been sleeping much or haven't eaten well, I can feel it when I'm getting in interactions that are maybe a little bit more difficult, and I can feel that I'm not quite as sharp. And I note when I start moving more emotional and I move away from the divine. And then I try the best I can to just back away and say, no, this is not the time. I shouldn't send that text. I shouldn't say that thing. I need to bring the divinity back in so that the Spirit can help me see myself and them more clearly so that I can then say it. You may still have to say something, but you'll say it in a way with love, even though it might be difficult. Okay, what do you think? What else would you like to add? What other questions or we're gonna fill that today with this divinity? Very powerful. Let me have you search something. Go back to your open bottom right. You open up another screen, hit plus. I want you to hit the search bar and then type in Mother in Heaven. And you should see several, what are you seeing when you type in Mother in Heaven? What's it for the top one? Mother in Heaven, then what?
Topics
and questions. Then there should be probably the second one is gospel topic essays. So click on that. I get this question now and then about, do we believe in a mother in heaven? Absolutely. We believe that after we have been created, after we are sons and daughters of heavenly parents. This will go into some understanding about a relationship of not only the potential, but also the doctrine of Heavenly Mother is a cherished and distinctive belief amongst Latter-day Saints. So if you want to go into that in more detail, please bookmark that right now. So hit the bookmark. And again, this will help you more understand, help us better understand our divinity, following that example with that. All right. So now I want you to think. So let's lock in. Let's lock in our mind. You don't have to say it out loud. So think of a family, work, life, whatever it is, situation, as I mentioned, where for you, it's easier to forget the divine. All right. I use the driving analogy because that's a classic, if that's that one. So you think of wherever that may be. Maybe it's, you're trying to deal with something at school. If you've gone to the student center and you got a problem with you're to the registration office, you got some issue. Let's think customer service, right? You got to deal with a bill and something's wrong and you got to make a phone call and you're on hold and you get transferred 3 times. But think of whatever that situation is that kind of ramps you up mentally, gets you frustrated. So just, again, don't think too hard on it. We don't get too negative, but we can be negative for about 45 seconds. So lock into that situation. I don't know if something came to you, something in the past, something that you a coworker that maybe you don't quite connect with, whatever it is, and think, all right, what can I do to think of their divinity and my divinity in that next interaction? So, and if you have a thought, if you just to put that down, it won't necessarily fix itself immediately, but it will definitely give you strength. It still might be, even if it's a little bit of a change to do that. So that's maybe something you want to look at this week. That is a very powerful. If you want to build relationships, you got to look at each other through the lens of divinity. If we're not doing that, it's easy for things to deteriorate. Marriages will deteriorate when they stop looking at each other that way. Relationships, friendships, family. I will say this, we'll say this often. There are situations in relationships where we do have to get away from the other person because of their poor use of agency. So this does not mean that we have to put ourselves in situations that are dangerous or hurtful, where somebody is choosing not to change. The divinity may give you inspiration to say, I got to get away from this. This is not healthy. I need boundaries. So that's absolutely appropriate. In addition, a lot of our relationships will just generally improve as we love them. I'll give you an example. Okay, so divinity. Has anybody ever heard of this thing? It's on like this stuff. It's papyrus. So there's a bunch of papyrus over there in front of Sister Calvert. She loves papyrus. But you see, her papyrus is working. Look at my papyrus died, so we're not even doing that. All right, so there's this thing called a check that comes from a checkbook. Has anybody ever heard those things? All right, so it's very common back in the day, in the olden days, where everything kind of functioned off checks. Have you ever seen somebody writing a check in line? It's so fascinating when I see that. I'm always like, wow, that's still.
I take exception to being back in the day, in the old days.
Oh, so you're bringing it back retro. Thank you, Elder Richardson, for bringing. Yeah, you're retro. I love it. I gotta check years. This memory was just so distinct, and I was teaching seminary full time. I had taught 5 lessons about love and charity that day. Okay, so I had 5 classes. It was all the same topic, 5 days, and then I had to go to the bank and deposit a check. So I raced after work. It was just getting ready to close. There was a line at the bank. I get in line and made it just in time, and you race to get something before they close. And I got up to the teller and I slid the check under the little thing. That still happens today. And I'm an empath, so energy, like a lot of people are introverts because they're empaths. I don't know if you understand that. Because you can feel energy. Like when somebody's angry, like I feel it. Right? If somebody's happy, I just feel it. And so you don't need to be an empath to see that this person was not happy behind the glass. Like the face, the expressions, the vibe, everything was like, some serious. She was drinking some Haterade and whatever it was, something was not right. I put it under, she takes it, she goes like this. It's like burned in my mind. She lifts it up and goes, and she flung it at me, threw it. And she goes, you expect me to sign it? You need to sign this. And I was like, whoa. So my initial thought was, how dare you? Like that was the first thing that hit my brain. I'll just be completely frank. And I was getting ready. I was like, okay, we're calling manager. I mean, it was completely unwarranted. Like it was like sometimes you get into interactions with people and it escalates. You kind of understand. This was like 0 to 100, like that. And it caught me off guard. And so I initially felt that I saw red. And I'm not a yeller, so I'm not, but I can cut with my words. Which that's not a good thing to do, but I can say things, and I was getting ready to just, kind of let her know her place in the world of service and that she's failing and she needs to, and I had all these phrases hitting my mind. And fortunately, just like coming to Institute, I was like, wait, what did I teach today? What did I teach today? Love, love, love. Okay. How do I love her? I took that check. I caught it before, she flung it out at me and I grabbed it and I just deep breath. and I signed it, and I thought, something's not right. Like, did you catch that? And it doesn't always work like this, but something was not right. And so I just put it under and I slid it under. And I said, sorry. I said, man, oh, just a couple more minutes before the end of the day. I said, it gets hard sometimes. And she looked, and it was like, you know, the Grinch, when the heart melts. I saw something begin to melt on her, and she looked at me, and it woke her up from this like angry like haze that she was in. And she just looks at me and she goes, "You have no idea." I was like, "I don't." I said, "I am so sorry." It's like, man, I'm so glad it's the end of the day. She said, "Oh, I can't wait. I'm counting the minutes." And I said, yeah, I really hope it gets a little bit better, you know, by the end of the day. And she goes, "Oh, thank you." And like even a little smile. And I was like, whoa, you know, so it got through to the Grinch and I left. Now, it doesn't always work out that well. Let's be honest. I mean, that was a nice one. I've had times where I've done that and they're still angry. And it doesn't really there's like Teflon happening with that. But when we think divinity, even if it doesn't change them, it's what we are portraying, and we have no idea the influence. And it's something, so we've got to learn how to pull back. Now, maybe it would have been appropriate, like if she had continued to be horrible, you know, maybe I'd been inspired to grab a manager and say, hey, but how I would have talked to the manager would be different if I'm thinking divine. So I would say probably more like, hey, something's going on here and probably need to kind of talk to her and see if she's okay, because it's, you know, a little bit disruptive. So it's not that you don't deal with issues and have the hard conversation, as I mentioned earlier. You're doing it with the Spirit, and that makes all the difference. It still can be difficult with it, but it can. Okay, what are you thinking? What are thoughts? What would you add to this? Any other suggestions? Situations you want us to workshop? You think of any situations where you're like, yeah, it's tough. Think family. I mean, so let's do this. Go to 2nd Nephi. Let's go to 2nd Nephi. Look up the scripture. So open up another screen. And let's kind of shift a little bit. When you do the search, I'll show you another cool search tool. I think I said this last week. Put 2N. So just put the number 2 and then N in your search bar, and then you'll notice what pops up. It should show 1st Nephi, 2nd Nephi. That showed that immediately. So this is a new search feature, so you can go really quickly. We're going to be in 2nd Nephi, so now just click on 2nd Nephi. And then we're going to be in in chapter 9. So 2nd Nephi, chapter 9. And here's the question that they give us. So we're going to move into this part. So we've talked a little bit about understanding our divinity, trying to look at other people through divine eyes, thinking of who they are as well as ourselves. And then we move into, they take us in the curriculum to, how does the atonement of Jesus Christ make eternal families possible? Why can relationships be eternal? Because of the atonement of Jesus Christ. And they take us to 2nd Nephi 9, where Jacob explains these doctrines. So go down to verses, let's go 6 through 8. So once again, the question is, how does the atonement of Jesus Christ make eternal families possible? Like, why does it even exist that we can have these relationships forever, this divinity with that? So let's listen to the scriptures here and things that come to mind. All right, verse 6, let's start. Who's got that? Let's just read a bunch of it. We're going to read 6, 7, 8. Who's got it over here? We'll just kind of, Ben, start with 6, Valentina, do you have 7? And then Edson, 8. Okay, go ahead.
was death hath passed upon all men to fulfill the merciful plan of the great Creator, there must needs be a power of resurrection. And the resurrection must needs come unto man by reason of the fall, and the fall came by reason of transgression. And because man became fallen, they were cut off from the presence of the Lord.
Okay, so we're talking about what we believe in terms of our existence on earth today. So we call this in the plan of salvation, the fallen world. So we are out of our heavenly parents' presence, here to grow and learn, understanding that we will make mistakes, transgression, we will fall. So it's giving us, so 7, let's see, Valentina.
Wherefore, it must needs be an infinite atonement. Save it should be an infinite atonement, this corruption could not put on incorruption. Wherefore, the first judgment which came upon man must needs have remained to an endless duration. And if so, this flesh must have laid down to rot and to crumble to its mother earth, to rise no more.
So if there were not, since we are now out of our heavenly parents' presence, we're going to make mistakes. We need to be made whole from those mistakes. And so there was an atonement, which was the sacrifice of Jesus Christ. You hear this term infinite and atonement. So when you think of the word infinite, what's the first word that comes to mind? Infinite, just whatever comes to mind. What's one of the first words that comes to mind? I'm curious.
Infinity.
Infinity. Okay, a variation. What's another word that comes to mind? Infinite. Endless. Okay, yeah. This word, if you kind of go in and you research this word, you can go into some of its origin. I know, Pam, you like words, you've been studying Hebrew and Hebrew, right? Hebrew with this. One of the definitions, if you were to go into infinite, and we don't talk about it we usually talk in terms of endless, but it also means unbound. Okay, so it's infinite. It's unbound. And so if you think, here we are in this world where things are, have you ever blended something and the top of the blender came off while you're blending? Has anybody ever had that experience? Or you forgot to put it on and you turned it, or you accidentally turned it on and it just goes, or you made that food, or you grabbed that large jar, something, and you dropped it and it just went everywhere, like everywhere. If you've ever had any of those experiences, you're all smiling. They're like, yeah, you've made that plate, you drop it, it goes every single. So think of that where it just is everywhere, and you find yourself cleaning it for a long time. Then you find little places in the future. You're like, how in the world did it get there? Like if you've ever broken glass and you find glass in like the next room, like it slides and shoots, and like, how in the world? So this life, it is unbound. So think of the mess. Just think of the mess. Like just when that happens, this atonement takes us this infinite experience of mortality, and it binds us back to the Father and the Mother, our heavenly parents. So as we connect and bind ourselves to our Heavenly Father through covenants, then it's able to cleanse and help us. Like the examples I was giving about, at the bank and what do we do when we're having, that's an unbounding experience. When we have the Spirit with us, it binds us to the Holy Ghost, and the atonement comes in and starts to work its wonders. And so had there not been an atonement, we would have been disconnected, unbound. And so we have this experience where we have that. And so let's see, Edson, verse 8, 2 Nephi 9:8 continues.
Oh, the wisdom of God, his mercy and grace. For behold, if the flesh should rise no more, our spirits must become subject to that angel who fell from before the presence of the eternal God and became the devil to rise no more.
And so thank goodness for the infinite atonement, because we'll finish up with this, Elder Bassett, verse 10.
Oh, how great the goodness of our God, who prepareth the way for our escape from the grasp of this awful monster. Yea, that monster, death and hell, which I call the death of the body and also the death of the spirit.
And if you look at 11, because of the way of the deliverance of our God. So we have an opportunity to be delivered through our daily situations, through whatever it is, as we connect to our divinity. We connect to heaven's help, which is ultimately the atonement of Jesus Christ, which allows us to be bound and connected with him, with our heavenly parents forever, in connections of family. So this week, I hope you got some things to think about. Get ready. You're going to be tested. We all are. Something's going to happen. You're going to be on that phone call. You're going to get that experience. You're going to, okay, divinity. I'm going to look at it. I'm going to look where I'm going to become unbound here. I got to bind myself to heaven's help so that we can learn and grow. And when we unbind, which we will, just catch yourself and go, okay, the atonement of Jesus Christ will help us clean it up, clean the mess up. The blender, the top of the blender comes off. I get it. That's a welcome to life. Learn from it. Let's maybe minimize the amount of times it comes off, but as it does, he'll help us, he'll clean the mess up as we turn to him. And I leave that with you in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Let's have a closing prayer. And then if you need a dessert, we've got incredible, we've got this dessert with like waffles and fruit, chocolate chips. So we might need to have round two with that. I think we got more over there, right?
Oh,
Yeah, let's go crazy. We gotta have another waffle. Anyway, somebody might give you a closing prayer and stay and enjoy. Sisters, introduce us to your friend here before prayer.
Please, yeah. No, you're right.
Tell us who we have here. Pleasure of being.
So this is Angel. We met him on campus and we've known you for like
2 weeks.
2 weeks? It has been 2 weeks. Yeah. So he came to church with us and now we're at the activity. We love Angel.
Nice to meet you. I'm Angel.
Angel, what are you studying at San Jose State?
I'm not at San Jose. I'll go there to just do homework. Yeah, but I'm studying computer science.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Great. So you're from San Jose then, from this area?
No, I'm from Dominican Republic.
Ah, the DR. Nice.
Yeah.
Welcome. We're glad you're here. So Angel, what's something you love to do? What's a hobby that you love?
Me?
Yeah.
Play soccer.
Of course. Yeah. I love it.
And now I'm having another activity that I like, you know what? Coming here.
Yes. Soccer and Institute. I love it.
Yeah. Last time I came here, I felt so good. Like a feeling that I didn't have for so long. So I don't know, I start liking coming here and I feel comfortable being here.
Well, it's good having you here. We feel your spirit too and your strength.
Thank you. What's your name, by the way?
I'm David. David
Okay.
Bond.
Nice to meet you, David.
Nice to meet you too. Yeah, go and introduce yourself afterwards. So welcome. Glad you made it.
Thank you.
Angel successfully survived an exam tonight, so.